Coming up, the Ellerslie Classic Car Show has plenty of delights. The Kiwis are dominant in Berlin in Formula E. And is Alvaro Bautista unstoppable in World Superbikes? This is Sky Speed.
Welcome to this week's edition of Sky Speed, coming to you from the 51st Ellerslie Classic Car Show.
Yes, and it is a special number. It's 51. Yes, it is.
Is it your 51st year?
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things. But here's something you don't know. Murph and I have never been here before.
We have not. Sky Speed has on numerous occasions, and I don't know what the hell we were doing.
Well, it's normally in summer, but the cyclone this year postponed to this time.
Thank you, Mother Nature.
Thank you, Mother Nature. But this is called the World of Wheels. Hold it up. Thank you very much. And there are so many cool things about it. We've had a little peeky boo. Your initial impressions?
Amazing amount of people here this weekend. Incredible, and for good reason, because there is some awesome stuff to look at.
And some old friends of the show. One of the standout exhibits here at the 51st Ellerslie Classic Car Show is a friend of the show, Steve Keys. We've finally discovered the 1938 Diamond T Texaco tanker. Mate, it is beautiful. Congratulations. How do you feel just standing in front of it?
Thank you. Very pleased to have it finished.
Where the hell did you find it?
I knew the guy that owned it down in AT Murray, and I used to ask him occasionally, would you sell the tanker? No, no. And then one time at Kiwi Festival in January, I said, Pete, are you ready to release that tanker? And he goes, funny you should say that. And a few weeks we came to an arrangement, and yeah, I bought it.
1938 Diamond T. I've never heard what a Diamond T is, so explain the truck itself. Was it a special type of truck?
No, they were like quite a big US manufacturer. We had Diamond Ts in New Zealand when we were mostly having English type trucks. Originally, a Diamond T was a shoe manufacturer, and then the son branched out. He said, I'm going to build trucks.
Your shoes are boring, Dad.
They did a very good job of building like really good trucks.
So the process of getting it sorted to this point, how long did it take?
Start to finish, just under 5 years. We've really tried to keep the originality and finding the right panel beater. I mean, I was well managed in respect that Simon Tippins at Pukekohe did the panel work, and a great job. Some people said to me, why is Simon doing that job? Because he gets it right first time. People that have seen the history and photos on the internet will attest that, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Very rusty, and was hard panel beating because it's very thick metal, so it was right on the limits of Simon's, like he hadn't done much of that sort of stuff, but he's really enjoyed it, loved it.
But to source the bits needed to make this original, how challenging was that?
Very in some parts, like I used the instance of the stainless steel valance on the lower part of the grille, unobtainium, can't buy one. And then a friend that we'd made through the computer in Texas rang me one day and said, Steve, I've got a valance for you. And I said, oh wow, that's cool. I said, what do you want for that? And he says, all I want is a photo of you and Sue in front of the tanker. I said, wow, I want that more than you. So yeah, we got it down here and repaired it, and it's on the truck. So I'd already made one chromed out of steel, but I knew it wasn't right. And no one would notice the difference, but I knew the difference. So I've now got the original one.
We need to know why. Why the 38 Diamond T?
Part of the disease, I love petrolania, collecting, as you've seen.
What do you call it? Petrolania?
Petrolania,
Not
yeah.
petrolmania? Just
petrolania.
Petrolania, is that a word you made up?
No, that's a common...
I've never heard that before.
And like petrol pumps, oil bottles and enamel signs, and it kind of is the fit with that.
Oh, by the way, how rare is this one? How rare is this one? Come on, spit it out.
It's quite rare because it's the only 38 Diamond T Texaco tanker in the world. Yeah.
Oh, sort of rare.
Yeah.
It is always a pleasure, and you have surpassed yourself. This is a beauty. Congrats, man.
Thank you very much.
It was double-header weekend in Formula E in Berlin. Race 7 was one for the record books. Over the 43 laps, there were 190 overtakes, 53 lead changes, and 8 different leaders, and a Jaguar Racing 1-2 finish. Most importantly, the winner, New Zealand's Mitch Evans, who after grabbing the lead with 3 laps to go, made it back-to-back wins in the series after winning in Sao Paulo in late March. The Berlin result more satisfying than most.
But it's Mitch Evans! Wins 2 in a row! Victory in Berlin! A 1-2 for Jaguar!
Yeah, I was saying on the in-lap, you know, the last race was special, having us both from the podium and also with Nick or Jaguar powertrains in the podium, but this one is extra special because it's a 1-2 for the team and just a really hard race to manage again. But yeah, it got a bit chaotic out there, but I wasn't expecting a victory in this place. This place has haunted me for many years, so yeah, just super happy to finally get a second win, but here is it was unexpected.
Race 8 at the Tempelhof Airport circuit was another day for Kiwis to celebrate, as in front of 34,000 fans, Envision Racing's Nick Cassidy's season of consistency continued. Starting 8th and managing his energy, Cassidy powered to the win and now sits just 4 points behind championship leader Pascal Wehrlein.
Man, I didn't know that. That's cool, but it's just a bonus. I mean, stoked to have the win. Obviously, to have a few podiums, you always want to be on the top step at one point. But there's still a long way left.
There was more reason for New Zealand motorsport fans to celebrate at the weekend, as Christchurch whiz kid Louis Sharp made an impressive start to the British Formula 4 season at Donington Park. On pace the whole weekend, he won the first 2 races, the second a reverse grid where he came from 20th. He finished 6th in race 3 and leads the championship into the next round at Brands Hatch on May 6.
Another wonderful part of what's going on here at Ellerslie is celebrating this 100 years of the Jaguar story.
Yep.
And John, there's some wonderful pieces here. Starting right over here with this beautiful sidecar.
Yep.
I believe that a car company started with a motorcycle.
Well, it started with the sidecars. There was a guy, William Walmsley. He was making sidecars for Indian Scouts. He got knocked up by a neighbour, William Lyons, and they formed a company and started beefing up production, and yeah, that was their first product.
Follow Sidecar Company.
Yep.
And that's where the SS came from.
No, after the sidecars they started producing motor bodies. So they changed from Swallow sidecars to Swallow sidecars and motor bodies, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so this is an Austin 7 with a Swallow motor body on it.
Oh, wow.
They also put motor bodies on Fiats and Swifts.
So like coach builders.
Yes, which was
Yeah.
quite common in those days.
Yeah.
And after that, they started making SS cars, and that was all on a standard motor company running gear. Then they became SS cars.
Right. And that wonderful, beautiful 1937 SS here has SS Jaguar on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think it was with the SS that they first used the Jaguar name.
And the beautiful Leaper then
Yes,
became part
yeah.
of the symbolisation.
That's not the original Leaper. There was the Desmo Leaper before that, which was a bit more grotesque.
Yeah.
But eventually it's settled on this one here.
Yeah.
That was probably in the 40s.
Yeah. And then obviously there was a bit of an issue there with the SS side
Yeah,
of
well, it
things.
wasn't very a good marketing name, was it, after the Second World War?
World War.
So from 1939 or 1940, they became Jaguar Motor Company.
The people you see at car shows, the wonderful Pat Kerr. Great to see you again. And we're standing in front of a beautiful car, your E-Type Jaguar that has a wonderful story behind it.
My parents bought the car in March of 1968 on Long Island, a Jaguar dealer on Long Island. Long Island,
Yeah.
they say in
New York.
New York,
Yeah.
and it was my mother's car, and they used it for Sunday drives.
Yeah.
When the car came to the States, it was marketed as a family sports car.
Because it's a 2+2.
Because it's a 2+2 with a jump seat.
Yeah.
And my mother's previous car that she still drove was a 61 Corvette. But my brother by then was, my kid brother was 10 years old, and they weren't able to go for Sunday drives together. My father said, okay, that sounds like a solution with the jump seat.
Great marketing.
So they picked up the Type, and they had it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And by then in 1996, I was in New Zealand, had married Phil, and we were doing restorations on Jaguars through McLaren Motorsport. Dad rang me and said, dear, we're not really using the car very much. Would you like to have it? So it took me a nanosecond. Yes, and the car was shipped out here in '96.
Now, Pat, you need to show us what's in the ashtray of your beautiful car, because there's something that's been there from your father from back when the car was in America, and you've managed to keep it in the ashtray the entire time. Just show us and explain what is in the ashtray.
It's my father's cigar ashes.
Anyone who ever valets or touches this car or services it better not get the vacuum cleaner and suck
Take
that
my
stuff
father's
out.
ashes.
Yeah, take your father's ashes. Classic.
This week's BP Ultimate Spotlight is on next month's Indy 500. At last week's Open Test Day, the 8th champion still racing posed by the trophy. But it was Joseph Newgarden who was the fastest of the 33 drivers at the Brickyard. He turned in his top lap of 227.686 miles an hour as the cars circulated in packs, simulating race day. Connor Daly was second fastest, followed by 2008 champion Scott Dixon.
Yeah, you're always learning. Like, it's always good to be on track. You know, I think for us and some of us veterans that when I started, you know, we probably did 50 or 60 days of testing, and now we're limited to like 5, you know. So the part I love the most about racing is driving the car. That's what I've always loved. So being here and being out on the track, or any track that we go to is the fun part. And especially when you've got some additional, you know, pieces to try, that always makes it interesting as well.
This year's race will be the swan song of 2013 winner Tony Kanaan, who's calling it quits after 22 Indy 500s.
You think you miss it until you drive the car and you realize you really miss it. But my decision is made, so I might as well enjoy the next 40 plus days and realize that that's an end of a great career. And for the first time, probably I realize this is it.
The 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 takes place on May 29, live on Sky Sport.
One of the key parts of the classic car show is the Concours d'Elegance, where...
Well said.
Yeah, thanks. Where owners bring their cars here, and they literally are old cars that look brand new, and then they got marked on it, right?
Yeah.
And like extreme marking. If you had a little mark on it, you'd get a mark off, right? You know what I'm saying?
Marks and marks and marks.
Locks and marks. But we've just decided we'd do our own little Concours d'Elegance and pick out some cars. I've already picked one out.
Yeah.
You know why I picked it out?
It's blue.
No, it's the same age as me, a 1965 Mustang Fastback.
Gave that away.
Oh, I don't really care. It is so beautiful.
And I think you might be lying as well.
No, I'm not lying. And the fact of the matter is, I found out from the owner, here's the really cool part about this one, that was the car the first Shelby was based on. Beautiful. How about that for a bit of knowledge? You like that one?
I'll store that away for as long as I can.
Okay, what else do you like, man?
There's a few other things I like. So we're going to have a look at some Japanese stuff.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
I'm very partial to an RX-7 and a rotary. Well, yes and no. Depends. I mean, it's a cult. They're a cult engine, right?
And the value has skyrocketed.
Yeah, and the RX-7s are a cult car. Look at that beautiful little Savannah, 1979 Savannah GT RX-7 behind me, Series 1. It is sublime. The person who has gone and stripped that car and just meticulously, it's better than new.
Okay, so my question...
And it's special, 1146 cc's out of the little twin rotor Wankel engine, right? And 130 horsepower. Like, probably goes terrible, but wow.
But what is
so special.
But what's the draw card for you? What is the draw card?
The engine, the rotary engine. I mean, the rotary is a very, very clever piece of engineering. There's a couple of beautiful examples here, much later version behind the 2000 RX-7.
Do like that one.
Yeah, and both those cars are, as I say, better than new. Dave Higgins has restored those, and they are just mwah.
Okay, so as a judge, how many ticks do you give those?
Well, I don't know how many you are allowed to give.
Out of 10, how many ticks?
Those are 10.
Okay, so from some Japanese engineering to some German engineering, and two fine examples. This way. So now the German engineering. Now, I'm not a Porsche guy, right? I know you love your Porsches. I'm not a Porsche guy, but there's a 1970 911 that is just gorgeous.
You mean that one there?
I mean that one. Look at it. You just hop on that and say, thank you. My world is good.
I don't know how anyone is going to judge these cars, because that is perfection. The 67 911 in front of it is perfection. So how do you judge it down in any way, shape or form? They are both beautiful. I mean, look at them.
Brother and sister.
That is the epitome of the Porsche 911. Right there, that says it all. Look where we are today. They're actually probably twice as big, but what a beautiful couple of examples right there. 1970 and 1967.
I have no more on those two. I have no more.
10 out of 10. No one's going to win this. Everyone's a winner. Everyone.
So now we're going from German engineering to Australian engineering.
Australia.
1970. So
Same year as the 911.
Same year. Style-wise, blur.
Slightly different.
Blur.
Slightly yes, but fit 12 kids in the back of that and drive across the Nullarbor.
Yeah, with a 186 under the hood.
There you go.
Yeah, but beside it, I think Chopper, the gangster, would have loved this one. Look at that, XA GT. Falcon.
Yep.
I mean, look.
And we've looked in the boot. The boot's open. There's no dead bodies in there.
Yeah,
so
but isn't that just a statement of Australian car making?
Epitomises.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. And the gentleman who has restored that 4 years, and it deserves to be here.
Oh, it
deserves to be
Does it get a
here.
golf clap and 2 ticks?
Oh, I would say it gets more than 2 ticks, but something quite special, very special. So a great array of vehicles.
Well, what fascinates me more is, once again, we've been walking around here, the amount of young people too that have turned up, but the attention to detail and the passion is just oozing everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not dying. It is not dying.
No, it's not.
Off the final turn to take his 40th victory in the Superbike World Championship, the 400th for Ducati. Alvaro Bautista takes his first hat-trick here in Assen.
It was current world champion Alvaro Bautista who took 3 from 3 in the Netherlands as World Superbike stormed back into action. Taking that 400th win for Ducati, Bautista has well and truly cemented himself as a title favourite once again this year, as he now sits 100 points ahead in the championship standings after just 3 rounds.
This is, I think, the maximum of Bautista. I mean, if there are other riders that can go faster, believe me, I can't. I don't have more to go to him, no? So I'm happy because I can give my best, even the circumstance. So yeah, has been really a perfect weekend for us.
Assen TT Circuit is one of my favourite tracks in the world. It's really fast and flowing, and given that nature, I wasn't surprised that Bautista was fast there. However, what did surprise me was the amount the bike was moving around underneath him. The cooler temperature at this time of year in the Netherlands doesn't make for a huge amount of track grip, but Bautista seemed pretty comfortable with that bike sliding, and in fact, I think he was even using it to help him steer on the exit of corners. When a rider has that level of confidence in what could be called suboptimal conditions, it makes them really hard to beat. The competition are well and truly having to give their maximum to try get ahead of Bautista, and one rider who always gives it a red-hot go is Toprak Razgatlioglu. The Turkish rider doesn't seem to be his usual aggressive self for most of the weekend in Assen. However, for race 2, it appears his team found something with that Yamaha R1M, and he did have a bit more pace to battle early on. At the end of the day, he just didn't have that pace to beat Bautista, but he does have the speed to consistently score points.
Jonathan Ray goes down. Jonathan Ray from 3rd position, and it really has been a demolition derby here in Assen.
Jonathan Ray's 2023 struggles continue as he tries to find just that little bit of the extra front-end grip he needs from his ZX-10R, and it's something that he needs to get that edge over the competition. These 3 guys are the most current world champions. They're world champions, and what it takes is just something small for one of them to get ahead. And Bautista has found that in his overall package. I think both Jonathan and Toprak are just struggling to find that last little bit of setup to make the difference.
Listen, it's a long season, and we need to take the small positives, work race by race, and sometimes a podium can feel like a win right now at KRT, and we gotta absorb that feeling and be happy with the job we've done. But we also need to know that there's a lot of work to do, and we'll roll our sleeves up and go to Barcelona.
Ray wasn't alone in crashing out of race 2 of the weekend. There were 6 riders who went down in that race, and unfortunately one of them was local hero Michael van der Mark. He had a nasty incident at that final chicane and unfortunately broke his femur. It's the 3rd major injury for van der Mark over the past couple of seasons, with previous pelvis and femur injuries really hindering his progress with that BMW. Nearly all of the injuries are results of high side, so it does indicate the electronics package on that BMW still needs a bit of work. However, his teammate Scott Redding did have a better weekend, finishing 7th in race 2. The quality of the field in World Superbike this year is outstanding. We have the British Superbike champion, the World Super Sport champion, the Moto2 World champion, and former MotoGP race winners all out there. It truly is some incredible racing out there, and I'm looking forward to the next round already.
Our BP Ultimate Track preview is Carco.com Raceway in Perth. Formerly known as Barbagallo and Wanneroo, it hosts the Perth Super Sprint live on Sky Sport this week. Track is 2.4 kilometres long with 7 turns, and turn 7 is particularly tricky with a big downhill and scoop in the bottom. Get it wrong and you can find yourself off track, as a number of drivers found out last year. No problem though for Shane van Gisbergen as he demonstrated his mastery of the circuit, winning the round and notching up Holden's 600th championship race win. And more are likely after SVG penned a new multi-year deal with Red Bull this past week. Another 600 milestones reached in this week's Perth Super Sprint, with former Supercars champion and Repco Bathurst 1000 winner Mark Winterbottom starting his 600th career Supercars race.
600 race starts is something I'm pretty proud of. To be in the game for such a long time and have people believe in you, sponsors, team owners and the crew around you and all that sort of side is a pretty special moment.
Frosty will become just the 3rd driver to eclipse the 600 mark, and you can see it live beginning 11 a.m. Friday on Sky Sport 5. Have you ever heard of a car called a Jowett? Me? No. But Lorna Johns here from the Jowett Car Club does know all about it. Jowett. Crazy name. Where does it originate from?
The two Jowett brothers in England, Bradford, started off there with motorcycles and things, created the Bradford, which most people will know about, and then they got into the Javelins, and then the Jupiters, which are the sports cars.
So they were a car producing company in England?
Absolutely.
How long did they last?
Well, they started in the 1900s, went through to 1953 when they had to fold up because of the shortage of metal and manufacturing problems and things like that.
They are an odd-looking car, but I suppose when you think...
way ahead of their time. They're a boxer engine.
So that's pre-Subaru, right?
Pre-Subaru,
wow.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are a really good hill climbing car. They keep up with cars on the motorway now. They can't outpace me. I haven't got a speeding ticket for over 100 yet, but I'm trying.
So how many people in New Zealand are part of the Jowett Car Club?
We've got about over 300 members.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you actually become a member of the Jowett Car Club?
Dad bought this car the day after I was born, so it's always been a family car. I went round the whole of New Zealand as a 6-month-old baby in the footwell of the car.
Oh my gosh. So this is a real piece of history, and that's why it's so dear to you.
That's definitely. It's just a brilliant car, and I wasn't allowed to inherit it or bring it up to Auckland until I got a garage.
Okay, so here's the real question. Is it your daily driver?
Mostly. I must admit I have bought a modern car, a 2010 car, but every time my son borrows that, this is my mainstay.
So what year is your Javelin?
1951.
It is so cool. Do you have lots of fun all the time?
Absolutely. And in Motueka I got my two sisters back together. One came from Australia, one came down from Auckland, and we had the car rally together, and it was just so many memories from our family. Yeah, definitely.
Just before we go, something old and something new.
Something borrowed.
And something silver. Look at that. That's a Polestar 1. 2018. That's where the whole Polestar electric family began.
That's right. This one is a hybrid, so it's got a ICE engine in it as well. Near on 600 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters of torques. So I would say it goes pretty good. Don't think it's actually been driven yet.
No, it's about got 50 k's on it, but apparently that still has the longest range of a hybrid car ever at 100 kilometres. This has been fun, hey?
It's been awesome. Amazing show, incredible crowd here, all walks of life, checking out beautiful machinery, great metal.
All right, set your recorders because there's a lot of motorsport to look forward to, and we will see you next week.